Welcome back for another episode of Uncut Gems with Slim. This week we are continuing the Force is Female series. It's just a little segment highlighting some boss women in my life, and I'm super excited because if you watch my main channel, you already know whose face this is, but hey. Mama Slim is in the building.
I am so happy to be here, Slim. This is great. I just hope that I'm able to drop a few little gems today. So I'm glad to be here and I'm excited.
All right, y'all. So we're going to try to keep it a little bit more serious because if you watch our Vlogmas videos and stuff like that, you know we love to have a good time. She always has me cracking up. But today we're going to take a little bit more of a serious approach so we can get y'all some great gems to help elevate your home life. And so today we'll be talking about the different ways that you can do better and be a better daughter, be a better mother, and have a great transparent relationship with your parent.
Yes.
So without further ado, let's get into it. I have a few questions for Mama Slim.
Yes,
and so first and foremost, everybody drop in the comments how beautiful she looked today.
Thanks,
you see you trying to match a little bit. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're trying to do a little something.
But yes, so I have a few questions. We're going to start off with 3 tips. Just three tips for how you feel like you cultivate a transparent relationship with your parent or with your child.
I think trust is one, honesty definitely, and consistency to help keep your relationship open where you can communicate with each other.
How do you build like trust with your child?
Well, in my experience, building a trust with my child, it's kind of like giving them little things that you want to trust them with and let them understand that that's how you go from one step to the next step. So if I can trust you with a little thing and you do good with that, then we can go to the next level of trust. So I think it's a step-by-step process. As a parent, you don't want to just give your child something really big to trust them with because they may not be at that level enough to be able to do that. So when they're small, you have to start small and you work your way up.
I feel like as far as me trusting you, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, it took a minute. It's not that I didn't trust my mom because I always knew she had my best interest at heart. But as far as like being honest and like not being like, even today I still be like, I know what you're gonna say. But I feel like over time I've been able to build trust with you through your transparency. So I'll never forget, I feel like our relationship like entered a new level when I was in college, and she called me one day and she was like, we were talking about something and you was like, Jasmin, I know you be at the club. And I was like, huh? And it was like at that moment when she like said that, I don't know why it stood out to me, but it was just like, okay, she done lived this life before. She done been 21 before, she's been 25 before, so she's like had different experiences. But I feel like when the parent is transparent about their experiences, it makes you feel like more comfortable to share with them, and you can trust what you say. That of course your parent isn't going to judge you, but they also kind of start trusting your judgment more when you're honest with them. So I feel like
I agree.
Over time, like I feel like that was a turning point. I remember specifically because I was like, well, if you know I be going, then I'm gonna tell you I be going. Like
and I think that it's important that a mother or parent express their pitfalls in the past and things that have gone on, because sometimes when the child sees the parent as a grown person, you never really think in your head that, oh, they were my age one time and, you know, they might have done this or done that. And so it's up to the parent to express that and have these conversations with your child. And so that way they know that nobody's perfect. You're going to mess up. And I always told my daughters that if you mess up, you're going to mess up, but don't mess up doing the same things that I did, you know, because I know that doesn't work. So everybody's they're going to trip up from time to time, but the important thing is to learn from that and to grow and do better. So that's the goal.
Yeah, and then I also feel like over time I've been able to just like get to know more about who you are as a person versus being my mom. So because a lot of times when you grow up, like you always only look at your parent as a parent, and you like kind of forget that they're a person. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like if it was anyone other than my mom always say, I done told you that, but you only listen when somebody else say it or something like that. But it's just like, it sounds different when it comes from someone who isn't your parent, because a lot of times we have these blinders on where we only look at you as like, that's my mom, instead of like, that's a person. Or even times where we've had moments where it's like, not feeling appreciated or something like that. It's like, well, dang, you know, I don't compliment you as much as I should, because at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, that's my mom. Like, a lot of times we be like, oh, that's my mom. That's what she's supposed to do. My mom, yeah, she look good, but there ain't no need for me to compliment her. But then somebody else will come, you be like, oh, girl, you look good.
Because you're so familiar with that relationship that you kind of, in your head, you know they're doing stuff, but you be like, oh, that's...
Like, in your head, it's all
that's
love.
just what they do.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And some of that you're talking about now, like when you were like that age, but now that you're older, it's kind of like the reverse in a way, because I have to see you as the person that you are. You're not that little Jasmin that you used to be. So, you know, I had to learn how to respect your boundaries, even though I'm kind of a frank mother, which means that I feel like if there's something that's not right, I feel like I need to say something about it. Ultimately, you're going to make your own decision. But if I see that it's going to the left, if I see it's going to the left, I think as a mother, as a parent, you don't want your child to trip up into something when you can see it very clearly, or you've been through that. You know, you don't want them to trip up in that same, in that situation, because you know it's a bad situation. But sometimes when you're young and you're eager to do and you just want to jump out there, you be like, oh, it's going to be all right. I'm going to do this and do that. But, you know, I always tell my kids, God watch over babies and fools. So, you know, if you're not a baby and you just out there doing stuff and you wonder after the fact or later on in life, you're like, oh, Lord, anything could have happened to me when I did that. You know, I wasn't thinking.
I've had the moments.
So, and we've all had those moments. So it's nothing uncommon. But we just have to be open to communicate, to talk about it, and not to judge. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to judge, but you never really know until you walk in that person's shoes. So, you know, even if that's your child, they're a different person than you. They have traits from the parents, but they have their thought process and everything could be totally different, because like Jasmin, she's a very outgoing person. I mean, she can go to Africa and walk through Africa like she's been there before and have never stepped into Africa, you know. That's because true. She's just that kind of person. She's open to learning and investigating and trying her, you know,
figure it out.
Yeah, she gonna figure it out. So, you know, and I really like that quality in her. But every child has their qualities, and you have to learn how to appreciate them, and you have to learn how to cultivate them from a young child. So that would be a tip for young mothers. You know, if you have children and you're really in tune to what your children are doing, you will see some of the gifts that they have, and it's up to you to cultivate whatever it is that they're passionate about. You know, because God gives all of us a gift. So that's part of your job as a parent, to see that and to cultivate it. And if you see it going the wrong way, you can cultivate it so that it'll go in a more positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be aware of it. If you're a young parent and you're out
Pay
there
attention to your children.
You're out there doing your thing, you're not paying the kids attention, and in the meantime, they're taking in everything you say, everything you do, and when you are doing certain things, you have to really be attentive to whether your child's watching these things, because at the end of the day, they're going to do what you do, not what you say.
Mm-hmm.
So you may try to chastise them, saying, Johnny, you're not supposed to do that. But if they saw you doing it, it ain't that bad.
Right.
And then when that stuff is funny and it's cute and all of that when they're small. But after they get a certain age, and now teenage is starting at 9, I'm here to tell you. So if you don't catch it early, it's hard to get it under control.
Right.
And then that's why you see when you're out sometime, you see where the child's almost like they're telling the parent what to do and what they're not going to do, because they don't have respect for authority, because you have to train a child in order for them to be in that mode at an older age.
Mm-hmm.
And learn how to respect themselves and to respect other people and to be mannerable. And all of these things are positive qualities that's going to get them further than they could ever get otherwise. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very important.
And then, so we talked about trust, we talked about honesty. I feel like consistency is very important too, because I'll never forget, like, growing up, you were always there for, and it kind of spoiled me, I'm not going to lie, because I didn't realize how that was unique, and I was privileged to have parents who were consistent in my life, consistent in asking me what's going on and things like that. And so I definitely think consistency is a great way to kind of cultivate a healthy relationship between your parents and the child, because the child not always going to want to hear what you got to say. But like I said, she gonna get her piece. And although, like, I don't want to hear it sometimes, or your child might not want to hear what you got to say sometimes, it's the fact that the consistency, one, not only every time she get off her chest what she got to say, like, it does, like, you retain that and it resonates with you, because over time, like I told her, when I went to college, I was like cut loose, thinking I'm free, like, because in my opinion, I grew up in a strict household, and so when I got to college, I was like, oh, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free, and I did stuff and went all these places and whatever, but at the same time, it was like a dog that got a collar attached to a tree. It was like, I'll run as far as that collar will go, as long as the little chain to let me. But then when it jerked me, it'd be like, okay, nah, I ain't no fool. My mama ain't raised no fool.
Lord.
And so it'd be at that point where I'm like, yeah, I'll go. They say take an inch, you take a mile. I'll take about a 3/4 of a mile, and that's when that chain stops. And I'll be like, all right, I ain't going no further, because, like I said, that stuff resonates you. So consistency is definitely something that I feel is important. And so with that being said, you have something else?
I said we are to train a child the way they should go, according to the Bible.
And they will not depart. Ain't that what it says?
Yes. So, we need to be vigilant about that and understand that parenting is very important. It's not something to be joked with or whatever. When that new world comes in, your job partying and having all that great time is over, because in order to be a great parent, and like I say, every parent gets their report card at some time. You may be young and you have young kids and you just think, oh, I can just do what I want to, and they're not really paying attention. And as time go along, you start seeing results of that. And so if you want your legacy to be a great one, you have to start when they get here. You need to start when they're in the womb, actually. Right. Because children, the reason they come out and they're all heads up and eyes wide open, like soon as they're born, is because they hear all of this stuff in the womb. So when they come out, they're looking for the thing they've been hearing for the last 9 months in the womb. you know, they're just so alert. Versus years ago, you know, when my mom was coming along, the babies used to sleep like 2 weeks, and that's all they did was sleep. You know?
I.e. her, she slept for 2 weeks out the womb.
So, you know, it's just very important. Every stage of raising children is great. It's always pros and cons, but if you're passionate about it, God will bless you in your endeavor, and you know you'll be happier for it, because I'm very proud of my daughters, and you know I couldn't have done it without God. So you know, it's been a great thing. You know, I had a great mother, and she was passionate about us as well, and you know, every day she's proud of the kids, she's proud of the grandchildren. She say that
every day.
And that's because it's a legacy thing. You know, it started years ago, and it's come through me, and now it's coming through my daughters, and I'm looking forward to the same thing through my grandchildren. So, you know, it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. So.
And with all that being said, what do you think a healthy relationship? I don't think we ever had an unhealthy relationship.
I just think a healthy relationship means that you can put it out on the table with each other and still have...
Even when it's ugly.
Right, even when it's ugly, and still have respect for one another at the end of the day. You know, and understand that everybody's an individual, and that everybody has, you know, they don't necessarily think alike. So sometimes you have to learn to agree to disagree.
And this one, she be staring in the mirror with me.
It's okay.
And
yeah, well, I'm the kind of mother that had
fight me one time, y'all. I'll never forget it.
Well, that's another thing. Just a side note, you're always gonna have what I call compliant children, and you're gonna have
me.
Yeah.
Non-compliant.
Those non-compliant ones, they're going to be a little tough, but you can see it when they come into the world. You're going to see it through their personality, even as a tiny baby. And you're going to know that your job is going to be set up for you with that one. So,
but I feel like even in that moment when we had that time where it was like he didn't want to hear what I had to say, and I was like, I'm gonna get what I gotta say off my chest, and it wasn't a respectful well, she told me I was disrespectful, and then that hurt my feelings, because I was like, I would never disrespected you. But in those moments, being able to, when you have a healthy relationship, you can have difficult conversations, because I feel like as the child gets older, you know, wiser, you know, and then we're able to speak on things that you don't want to hear from your child. You like, I done wiped your butt, and when you been pooping on yourself, couldn't do nothing for yourself. I feed you, I pushed you out my womb, and you gonna try to tell me that I'm stubborn, or you gonna try to tell me about this character flaw about myself. I've been on this earth more than, but at the end of the day, it's like sometimes your child can really show you, like, you know, I thought I've been the finest thing since sliced bread, but I might do have a little bit of stubbornness. That
is, and you know, your children can bring out some things in you as a parent that you might not have been aware of, and when they bring it out, you're like, oh Lord, maybe I do need to work on that.
Hurt. They pride be hurt. They got to go in the closet.
You do be hurt, because you think that, you know, but we're not always right. And one thing I do say, that if, even as a parent, if you do something to your child and you know that it was overboard or it was across the line and you should apologize, I feel like you should apologize. Just because you're the parent don't mean you don't make mistakes, don't mean that you cannot apologize to your child, because I've done it before, you know, and I was like, oh, you know, I did kind of go overboard with that, and I just wanted to apologize and make it right, because they, at the end of the day, they are people, individuals just like you, you know. Even though you're the parent, as they get older, it's a little bit more difficult. It's difficult for the parent because you see them getting older, and physically you're older, but mentally you're not already there. Like when you're a young adult, even like in college, sometimes, you know, they may want to do certain things, and you'd be like, "Oh, I know they're grown, but you know, you only 21, you only 23, you only 25." I said, "Well, how long only gonna be there until you get married, and I don't gotta worry about you no more because you your husband and responsibility." Yeah. And also think about this: when your parent puts everything that they know how to put into you to make you the best person that you can be, it's difficult for them to see you just throw it away. Oh. You know what I mean? When they see you and they know good and well, you know, you get with somebody and you know good and well that's not who they should be with or whatever. And you're like, "Oh, Lord, I done put all of my time, the last 21 whatever years."
All right.
You know? So I just wanted to bring that to up front, because, you know, a lot of young people don't think about that, you know, especially when you have parents that have really tried to do whatever they could to cultivate you into the person, help cultivate you into the person that you become. So
I think it's also important for children to, or I say children, I'm not a child, but yes. I feel like it's important for like not the parent, but the parent too, to give your mom, give your dad, give your parent, your guardian, whoever, some grace, because I remember like growing up, like in my head, my parents were perfect. They knew no wrong. Like they knew everything. But at the end of the day, like your parents show you what they know best and what they've been taught best. Like they might not know everything. Some stuff they might say that they thought was the best for you might not be necessarily the best or the right thing, but just like having some grace and not really getting too upset when what they told you was their best, but it wasn't like specifically right or the best in general. Because I feel like a lot of times you paint this perfect picture of your parents and you forget like, oh, they human too, they make mistakes, or maybe what they suggested in this scenario might not been the best thing.
That's true.
Or whatever. So I definitely think that's important too.
That's true. So true. I agree.
And so my last and final question is, how do you feel like your relationship changes with your daughter? Well, I'm going to have you speak from a daughter's perspective and a mother. So we'll start how your relationship with grandma, y'all remember Grandma Slim, how your relationship changed with grandma as you gotten older. And then you can also talk about how you feel like your relationship with me has changed as I've gotten older.
Well, as I got older, my mom was very like in tune with us, and she cared about what we were doing and how we thought and stuff. So my mom, she talked to us a lot, and it's very important that you talk. So you get to know each other. And as I got older, I made some choices that I could have done better with. But she didn't like come down on me. Some things in life you just have to learn on your own. And it's not easy for your parent to see you go through certain things. But at the end of the day, it helps you to grow. If you grow from it and you get wiser and you do better, then it wasn't a failure. But she always supported me, and I did some things that I probably wouldn't have ordinarily done, like back in that day, a female going into the military and things like that, people were like, that wasn't even really thought of too much. And, she always supported me, and she always thought that I had a good enough head on my shoulders that I would pick stuff that would enhance my life, not turn it, back the other way. So she just let me grow the way I needed to grow as an adult. And sometimes I made pitfalls, and she was like, question me, you sure about that? And I was like, okay, I'm going to go with it anyway. And then it would be a flop. But thank God I learned from my flops, and I got up and just kept going. Mm-hmm. And as far as like you guys, as the parent of the child getting adult, like I said a little earlier, I had to learn how to really pull back, because when you're in parent mode, you're so used to doing it that when they get to a certain age...
You had to put your doggy collar on.
I had to put my collar on, so I could be snatched back. Because one thing you don't want to do as a parent is you don't want to come down on them. They're still in the learning process. They're learning about life and different things. And if you hinder them too much, you don't want to put them in a position where they're afraid to try anything or try things in life. And I think sometimes as a parent, we hold on so tight that they get to the point where they're even scared to make moves certain ways, because out of us being parents, we're fearful if you're doing anything that is like not normal, be like, oh Lord, you sure about this? Like I have had those conversations with my daughter, and it's some things that business wise or whatever, and I'm like, you sure about that? And she's like, Mom, I got this. And I had to learn how to respect her as a young woman and the decisions that she makes, and understand that what I imparted in her all these years, she can make good decisions without me, So I'm proud of her for that. I'm proud of you for that, boo. I am.
I appreciate it.
You're definitely
you did good. I'm like your prize trophy.
Yeah.
Me and Chanel, we two little trophies. Alive. You can't put us on the mantle, but we two live trophies.
But very proud, very proud. So
you and Dad's hard work.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you for coming on the show. This was good.
I enjoyed it. It was very, very good conversation, and we have to do it again.
Yes.
Maybe part 2.
Maybe part 2. If y'all are interested in having Mama Slim on the podcast again, let me know in the comments, because I would love to have her on, because, I like when you be here and be doing my stuff and on my channel and stuff.
Oh, well, I enjoy it.
I
never thought I'd be a part of anything like this, so this is a blessing. Lord. So,
well, I would tell people where to follow you on social media, but y'all can't follow her on social media, because follow me if y'all want to see her. Maybe on Vlogmas again this year.
Oh,
but
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, this is Mama Slim. She's back, and I'm glad she was able to come on the podcast. If y'all want to hear something from Chanelica or Thick Lene, y'all let me know too. Chanel will be glad to come on here as well.
Daddy Moses?
I don't know. Papa Slim.
If
y'all want Papa Slim, I'm actually thinking about an all guys series, and if y'all want Papa Slim to be on it,
oh boy,
we could do that. And we'll get some insight
little words.
We can get some insight from a father's perspective, man's perspective, and all of that. So I feel like it would be good content as well. But hopefully y'all enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you like this video. If you're listening via podcast, leave me a rating and review if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, and we're on Instagram, so make sure you follow us on there at Uncut Gems with Slim. I love y'all so very much. You love them too?
I love you guys too. Thank you for letting me spread some gems today.
Yep, and until next week.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast, and feel free to connect with me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Slim Reshae. That's SlimReshae. Links will be listed in the show notes, and until next time, love yourself and be beautiful. When you're bad, when you need to fight.